On June 7, 1943, maids at the New Yorker Hotel entered room 3327 on the 33rd floor. Inside, they found the lifeless body of an 86-year-old man who had lived there, largely forgotten, for a decade. He died with virtually zero financial security. Cut off from the outside world, his primary daily interaction had been feeding the city pigeons that visited his window. This same man held over 300 patents. Half the planet was reading by the light of his inventions, and his engineering is the precise reason the modern electrical grid exists today. Born during a lightning storm, Nikola Tesla survived childhood cholera and quickly displayed an intellect that baffled his teachers. He could perform complex integral calculus entirely in his head, prompting early accusations of cheating. While his priest father worried about him, his mother openly predicted he would grow up to be a child of light. He possessed a photographic memory and successfully engineered the future of human infrastructure. Yet a man capable of designing a global power grid in his mind completely failed to engineer a way to keep money in his own pockets. The rift between his intellect and reality started early. As a young engineering student at an Austrian polytechnic institute, Tesla openly clashed with his physics professor. He pointed out severe flaws in standard direct current, or DC motors, boldly claiming that an alternating current system would be far more efficient. His professor dismissed the idea entirely. Rather than move on, Tesla let the problem consume him for 6 years. The obsession ruined his academic focus, leading to a gambling addiction, a severe nervous breakdown, and his eventual withdrawal from college. But the breakdown yielded an answer. While walking through a park, the complete mental map of a working AC motor simply clicked into place in his mind. Look at this visualization of his concept, a rotating magnetic field pushing a central rotor. This theoretical model proved that alternating current could drive a machine using invisible magnetic forces, completely bypassing the intense mechanical friction and sparking commutators that held back standard DC motors. He could build, test, and perfect massive industrial machines entirely inside his imagination. It was an unparalleled cognitive advantage for science, but it left him uniquely vulnerable to the deceptive, hyper-aggressive mechanics of American capitalism. Tesla arrived in America with a letter of recommendation and exactly 4 cents to his name. He quickly secured a job at the New York branch of the era's foremost inventor, Thomas Edison. Edison handed the young immigrant a nearly impossible task, redesigning his deeply flawed DC generation plants. He promised Tesla a massive $50,000 bonus if he succeeded. Tesla accepted, grinding from 10 in the morning until 5 the next morning, sleeping in the office to hit the goal. Months later, Tesla presented the finalized improvements and asked for his pay. Edison laughed, refused the money, and told Tesla he simply didn't understand an American joke. Disgusted, Tesla immediately quit. He tried to launch his own lighting company, only to have 2 investors strip him of his patents and abandon him. By 1886, the man who had just revolutionized electrical engineering was forced to dig ditches for $2 a day just to survive. But his ideas were too valuable to stay buried. In 1888, he secured fresh financial backing and debuted a functioning concept of his AC induction motor. This caught the eye of a major entrepreneur named George Westinghouse, who agreed to finance the project. Facing heavy commercial losses, Edison launched a vicious counter-campaign. To convince the public that AC power was lethal, he orchestrated the public electrocution of stray dogs, horses, and even a captive elephant, framing AC as a current that would fry people to death in their homes. The smear tactics failed. Alternating current was simply too efficient over long distances. Tesla won the war of currents, securing the historic contract to harness 50,000 horsepower from the roaring waters of Niagara Falls. But victory triggered a fatal financial decision. Westinghouse's company fell into massive debt. To save his friend and ensure AC power survived, Tesla ripped up his own highly lucrative royalty contract. In doing so, he voluntarily walked away from an estimated $300 million. To Tesla, the money was irrelevant. Securing a wide-scale rollout for his technology and honoring a man who believed in him mattered more than any bank balance. By forfeiting those royalties, Tesla amputated his own future. He lost the reliable capital required to fund his increasingly ambitious experiments, forcing him to beg skeptical investors for every dollar. When a devastating fire ripped through his laboratory, it incinerated his early research on wireless radio signals. Without a steady stream of passive income, he had no way to rapidly rebuild. He managed to launch one final, massive venture, the Wardenclyffe Tower. It was a massive transmission station outside New York, designed to send both messages and raw electrical power wirelessly across the globe. Before he could finish it, funding evaporated. Meanwhile, an inventor named Guglielmo Marconi used 17 of Tesla's existing patents to successfully transmit the first transatlantic radio message. Tesla spent years draining his remaining funds in bitter court battles, eventually winning recognition only after his death. He lived out his final decade in a hotel room because he held a strict refusal to act like a businessman. He viewed money purely as fuel for scientific progress, pouring every cent he earned directly into his next prototype rather than securing a personal estate. His absolute inability to play the corporate game ensured his life ended in poverty and isolation. But it was that exact refusal to hoard his wealth and his insistence on sharing his discoveries that ultimately gave us the powered, connected world we rely on today.